Cyber Uncut. Discover the changing face of business, government and national security as Australia navigates the cyber revolution.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Cyber Uncut podcast. My name's David Hollingworth. I am the Deputy Editor of Cyber Daily, and I'm joined by my colleague...
Daniel Croft.
Excellent, very, very smooth. Our indefatigable journalist on the website, my partner in cybercrime. Not saying we do the cybercrime, we just forget about it.
Yeah.
But for now, let's focus on our usual AI topic. And we've got some mixed stuff here, some good takes and some bad takes.
Yeah, let's start with the bad.
Let's start with the bad, and let's start with News Corp.
Yeah.
They've upset their journalists and the MEAA, the Media Entertainment and Arts Alliance, the union for journalists, with their move towards AI-generated content. You covered this, so take us through it.
Yeah, so this is a pretty shocking one. So the kind of crux of it is that News Corp's trialling a number of new AI, one of which is called News GPT. And it's pretty much, its goal is to clone the styles of the writing of journalists, by journalists using it in their workflows, to train itself on them so it can then replicate content in the style of that journalist, which is evil.
Yeah. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I mean, so you and I, we're not afraid of ChatGPT. We make use of it. It's really great for getting a broad sense of knowledge on a topic with a specific question. It's great for prompts. So like, okay, how should I word this? How can I write that?
Yeah.
What's a good pun?
Yeah.
But the idea of going to ChatGPT and, hey, write me a story in the style of Daniel Croft.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Look, I don't know if it's ChatGPT specifically, but an AI-generated journalist is pretty much what it's creating.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's going to need to train itself on the writing of real News Corp journalists who aren't really very keen on it. So the MEAA...
It sounds like a great way to put yourself out of the job, doesn't it?
Well, I will touch on this. News Corp does say that it's not to replace jobs. It's just to improve productivity, blah, 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 all that kind of usual crap you hear from companies who will end up cutting. Because we know News Corp. They love to cut a job. They love culling staff. Their kind of way of working seems to be buying small successful businesses, squeezing the life out of them, cutting as many staff as possible and moving on, leaving the husk.
Replacing them with AI.
Yeah.
Yes. Now they can buy these outlets and just replace the journalists wholesale.
Yeah.
Great. I love it.
Yeah, it's terrible. I know that they're trying to cut some costs to do with like marketing stuff, expenses and stuff. But, you know, sucks to be you, News Corp, a little bit. So the MEAA commented on this, saying it was an unethical threat. Well, these are my words. Unethical threat to both jobs and quality journalism. It said, News Corp is introducing AI programs that threaten to undermine real journalism told by humans, with workers recently being called into mandatory AI training sessions. I read somewhere, I forget where, it was I think it was someone who used to work at News Corp or works at News Corp, at someone saying that like they're being very much encouraged to keep AI kind of in their workflows. Yeah. Because obviously if it's getting used, it's getting trained.
Yes.
So the MEAA also shared a shared statement from News Corp journalists that said, MEAA members at News Corp are deeply concerned by management's forced rollout of an AI platform that has the potential to undermine and replace the integral work that human journalists do. Union members at News Corp stand up every day for strong, ethical journalism. The stories of our communities are human stories that need to be told, checked, and supported by accountable, ethical human beings. It goes on.
But that's the crux of the matter, right?
They have partnered with OpenAI, so it is probably going to be ChatGPT based. But yeah, News Corp just says it's a way of kind of figuring out how AI technologies can enhance workplaces.
I mean, look, the thing is that it's easy to make fun of News Corp because you and I, being dyed-in-the-wool lefties, it's like it's a natural, slow-moving target. But even The Guardian, The Grawn, like the heart, the beating leftist heart of journalism in Australia and around the world, even they're bringing in AI into their workflows.
It's the future.
Not quite in the way that News Corp is doing it, making it mandatory and trying to train up the AI to sound like it's journalist, which there's just no good outcomes for that. I can't think of any good reason.
Not only could it result in cut jobs, which is like the most obvious one, but if you can harness the voices of real journalists who may not agree with the opinions you want to push in your articles, you can then have an AI have them say a certain thing, which is terrifying. We know that,
hey,
as you
AI,
said,
write a story in the style of Daniel Croft praising Donald Trump.
yeah, not going to happen.
Yeah.
So they're also trialing a couple of other tools. One of them that I don't have a name of, pardon me, is called, it doesn't have a name, as I just said, will create fresh story angles or gather unique leads, while another tool called Story Cutter will eliminate the need for sub-editors because it will edit and produce copy.
For the love of... Why the poor sub-editors all the time?
Yeah. Oh, but we're not replacing jobs. We don't need sub-editors anymore, but we're not replacing jobs.
We're not replacing jobs. We're just replacing sub-editors. They're not people.
And I bet you it'll do a bloody poor job.
It will, because context is everything.
Yeah. News Corp also, they've been in trouble for their AI usage in the past. In 2023, they admitted to producing 3,000 localized articles a week.
Yeah.
On their local publications with AI. Yeah. They also use AI-generated images. I don't know if they disclose that or not, but they love an AI-generated image, which, look, to be fair, is becoming pretty commonplace these days. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I also see it as there is a point to it.
Yeah.
But, it's a way for them to cut costs. They don't need to pay artists. They don't need to pay for photos.
Yeah.
And there's other people that are put out of work.
So that's photographers gone. And the thing is, with the photographers gone, so is the great photography.
Yeah.
That news journalists and news photographers have created some of the most iconic images of, the last however long we have photography.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All the way back to the American Civil War, photography's played an important part in how we understand these global conflicts, how we understand things happening abroad and at home. Everything is framed by the lens of a photographer.
Yeah.
You take that lens away and you get AI slop in its place.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just demean everything about the whole process.
Yeah. I don't like a single thing about this. And
Yeah.
if you're a journalist at News Corp, I'm really, really sorry.
And the whole sub-editor thing is something I'm very, very passionate about. I've been writing in magazines and online for way more decades than I care to think about. And back in the day, we always had sub-editors, right? And we have sub-editors here at Momentum Media.
Yeah.
It's something I'm really, really proud of the fact. We have real live sub-editors. In fact, we have sub-editors for every division and brand. And what I like is when I've made a mistake, and we both make mistakes, and I'm sure you deal with this as well. Our sub-editor will contact us, go, did you mean this or did you mean that?
Yeah.
They want to get into the subtlety of it. They understand that maybe they're incorrect.
And that does happen.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'll be like, no, I actually do mean this, or wow, I just had a bad day.
Yeah.
And it's a far more human experience. You end up with a great outcome. And at the end of the day, those two people understand what they're talking about a lot more. I just can't see an AI replacing that process at all.
No, neither can I.
Yeah.
Especially not soon.
Yeah.
With the kind of capability of AI to understand even just human language, it not being that great. And then you're getting it to, be the voice to the public on quite serious topics a lot of the time, and it can't get small details wrong.
Yeah. And this is even before we get into the training bias and all of that. I mean, there's just... Yeah.
The training bias, we don't even need to go into that. You know what it'll be.
Yeah.
Don't like a single thing about it. Like I said, if you're a journalist at News Corp, I'm really sorry.
But there is a flip side to this.
There is.
And Bernie Sanders, bless that old socialist so much. I'm going to blurt this out right now. He's come out swinging with, well, if AI is so great for productivity, where the heck is the 4-day week?
Yeah, well, look, in not so many words, pretty much he did. So he was on the Joe Rogan podcast, which is not something I frequently watch. No surprise that we're Bernie Sanders fans on this podcast. Yeah. So he pretty much went and said, the tech industry is saying productivity is up with AI. That's what it's designed to do. It's making workplaces more productive. You're going to get better results, blah, 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 blah. Okay, if it's so productive, why not give that time back to your staff and give them a 4-day work week? Because if the results are that good, everybody wins, right?
Yes, it is. It's great, except when you consider the fact that obviously we live in we're going to get so banned from Momentum for being the fucking most radical. I swore again. The most radical podcast. The capitalist system is all about profit. It's not about giving back to the workers. Let's just say the quiet part out loud.
Yeah. So, and that's what the tech companies push. They're advertising to these big companies saying, well, wouldn't it be great if your staff could stop doing this task and have more time to do this task?
Oh, yeah.
Not if they could stop doing this task because it's done and then they can go, spend more time with their family.
Yeah.
Now, Sanders said the concept of a 4-day work week is not a radical idea, and he did point out that a number of organisations have proven it works.
A number of countries have proven that it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Australia, Bunnings and Medibank, right? Massive, massive companies, both of which have trialled 4-day work weeks. Medibank found that employees had improved satisfaction, well-being, and productivity. So even then, you're doubling down on the productivity boost.
Yeah.
So Medibank Group lead for People, Space and Sustainability, Kylie Bishop, said, we've seen significant and sustained improvements, a lot of S's for a guy with a lisp, in employee engagement, job satisfaction, and the health and well-being of participants while maintaining business performance and customer outcomes. Same thing was seen in the UK. 61 companies trialled a 4-day work week. Only 23 reported the financial results of that. But all of them had largely the same revenue. In fact, there was a 1.4% revenue increase. And then in 2019, Microsoft Japan moved to a 4-day work week, and that was a 40% increase in productivity. So you want to maximize productivity. It sounds like the AI and the 4-day work week, everybody wins, and then everybody gets to spend time with their kids or their partner or with friends.
Because work-life balance is one of the most important things that I think, and obviously you and I agree upon this.
Yeah.
I'd feel much happier coming into work for a 4-day week, knowing that I've got a 3-day weekend. Would I work an extra hour in the day? Sure, happy to. Is AI part of the process? Have no problems, because AI is actually doing something for me, not for the company or the bosses or
and that's the thing. Like
that's a good outcome.
Basic tasks that are just time consuming and don't require a lot of effort, just time.
Yeah.
That's what AI is designed to do.
Yeah.
Giving it, can you write out a basic, not like structure for an article per se, but if you're doing like questions for a panel or something
which
like that.
I have used ChatGPT for when it's a panel I'm not particularly familiar with. And of course, you vet those questions and answers.
Absolutely.
You do your own research, but it's still much faster than coming at it from a standing start.
Like the end result is often incredibly different to what you got from ChatGPT, but
100%.
it lights a spark.
Bingo.
And that you save a lot of time doing that. That's what this is for. As Bernie Sanders said, let's use technology to benefit workers. And I don't think there's a better way of putting that.
Bless him.
And
look, we see this in our own bailiwick as well. AI is a boon to the average cybersecurity worker.
Absolutely.
Just can take so much of the stress out of the whole thing, can cut down on fatigue alert, which means it cuts down on burnout, which cuts down on everything, and happier workers are productive workers. And that's how you sell it to the bosses, right?
Yeah.
They're productive. And for everybody else, they're happy.
Yeah.
Okay, on that remarkably socialist red flag note, we are going to throw to a break, and we'll be back very shortly. All right, okay, back to the hacks. But now to the good news about the hacks, because we've had, and this is all today. We're recording on Thursday. It is June 26th. You'll be listening to this on the 27th. This week has been a red letter day, week, period of time for arrests of hackers.
Yoo-hoo.
Let's start with local.
Yep.
University of Western Sydney.
Yeah, so
They've had a lot of hacks, right? Years of hacks.
we've reported on Western Sydney being hacked, I think 4 times at least.
And that's probably not even the complete thing. It goes back longer than that. You would think that, oh man, this university's had some bad luck. It keeps getting targeted by hackers. No, it keeps getting targeted by one hacker. Isn't that right?
It's weird. So I from memory, some groups have claimed, I think it might have been Everest, I could be wrong on that, don't quote me on that, have claimed attacks on these guys before. Whether that's got any truth to it or not, there was a third-party hack, whether that was a different person or not. What we do know, though, is that there is a hacker behind a number of attacks that has now been arrested, and she is an ex-student. So she was arrested yesterday, so 2 days ago.
The signal's coming from inside the house.
Yeah. Look, I the way it starts out, I can't be mad at.
Can't you? Okay.
No. Well,
all right.
She was.
All right,
look,
justify this. Come on.
It was very teenage movie in that way. She was hacking.
You're right.
Uni to get cheap parking.
Yeah.
And
Hack the planet.
Uni parking costs a fortune when you're a student.
Yep.
So look, if it was left at that, not a problem.
Yeah.
I can
Victimless
look past
crime.
that.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And then she started changing her academic results.
That's not so good.
Not great.
Also kind of classically teen hacking movie.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so. Like, Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Kind of that, yeah.
Before she then started doing data exfiltration, unauthorized access, targeting infrastructure, system compromise, and then threatening to sell student data. The classic hacker.
And before you know it, teen movie to, well, jail
Hoodie.
sentence.
Yeah.
Hoodie wearing hacker. Selling data, compromising her fellow students.
Yeah.
And suddenly this is a victim crime.
Yeah, massively. So New South Wales Police Cybercrime Unit, they launched Strike Force Docker. And as part of that, they found her and arrested her and have charged her. Now, she's been charged with quite a lot, 20 offences.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, 10 counts, so half of them.
Yep.
Access, modify, restricted data held on a computer.
Yep.
Got 4 counts of unauthorised modification of data with the intent to cause impairment.
Yep.
2 counts of unauthorised function with intent, serious offence. She possessed data with intent to commit computer offence and dishonesty obtained. Oh, there's more. I won't go through them all.
There's a lot.
Yeah,
this woman has done a lot.
Yeah.
And it's just wild that, you talk about the slippery slope of crime, right? And it feels like it's such a trope.
Yeah.
And yet here we have it. I just want to fiddle with parking. Before you know it, you're selling data on the dark web and you're one of them. Like a slide to the dark side.
It is, yeah. So she was due to face Parramatta Local Court today.
Yeah.
Yesterday for everyone listening, if you listen to it as it comes out.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see the result of that. But she was refused bail. And Western Sydney University spokesperson spoke to us and said that, look, we can't comment too much about it. What they did say is they've been working closely with New South Wales Police to assist their investigations. These cyber incidents have had a significant impact on the university community, and we are thankful for the support of New South Wales Police. As this matter is now before the court, the university cannot comment further.
which is, the sensible, usual boilerplate. This is an ongoing thing. There has been an arrest, judicial proceedings, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Just got to stay quiet.
And the thing is, like, she should, after whatever prison sentence or whatever she gets is, right, she should go out and get a job as a white hat hacker because she's obviously really talented.
She has clearly learnt on the job. I'd love to know what she was studying. God, if it was computer science, I mean, it's like an advertisement for the university, right?
Yeah. Well, they do have cyber degrees at
it is just
Western Sydney.
We always assume when we see a university hacked that it's probably not going to be coming from inside the campus. Often universities are targeted, especially Australian universities, are targeted by overseas actors, and not just criminals, but by nation-state actors.
Yeah.
They want to get at our intellectual property. They want to work out what some of our smartest minds are working on, because a lot of our universities are now tied up in AUKUS, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of attention from China in particular on getting inside of our campuses. But no, it's a student who wanted cheaper parking.
Yeah. And look,
it's a wild ride.
Stop there. Get the cheap parking and just leave it alone, please.
I shouldn't laugh, because clearly this has been... if I were a student on campus, I'd be like, well, what's next? How much of my data's gone? Every time there's a new breach, you'd be like, well, what now?
Yeah.
It's kind of funny, though.
You'd feel very defeated being a student of Western Sydney Uni for that.
With all this. And it's all happening by one of your fellow alumni.
Yeah. By the way, with the cheap parking thing, I'm not suggesting people commit crimes for cheap parking.
Please do not hack
do not
your
do
business, your workplace, your home, your friends, just to get cheaper parking.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. It's funny, but it's still a crime.
Yeah,
Don't
it
do
is. It's theft.
Now, how many charges? You said like
20.
20 something? Okay,
20.
so this is amazing, because that is an incredible number. So that's not the only arrest we want to talk about.
No.
We've talked about BreachForums a lot. BreachForums is one of the, probably the English language hacking forum. It's where some of the greats, I say, doing air quotes
the
again,
most infamous
hackers hang out. ShinyHunters, IntelBroker, Cyber, we won't say that word,
no.
and a whole collective. Well, they've all been arrested.
Yeah.
ShinyHunters, arrested. IntelBroker arrested in February.
Yeah.
There were rumors of that, but it's now been confirmed. And on top of those two, 3, maybe 4 other admins of BreachForum have all been tracked down and arrested, not in Eastern Europe, in France.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were operating out of France.
This is crazy because ShinyHunters, I believe, was he running BreachForums most recently? I think.
Yeah, he was one of the admins, but also it's really weird because as far as I can tell, so backtrack a little, April, BreachForums got taken down by a 0-day attack and law enforcement infiltration. There was one of the URLs for BreachForums, they put up a text file warning, hey, we've been hacked. We've been infiltrated. We're going to look after ourselves. Don't trust any other BreachForum sites and clones. They're probably law enforcement honeypots. And we did see a couple of those clones pop up, and they were very weird.
Yeah.
They were very strange.
Yeah.
I think they were, in fact, law enforcement honeypots.
Yeah.
I don't think BreachForums has come back since probably ShinyHunters' arrest in February. Was it ShinyHunters? Yeah, ShinyHunters' arrest in February.
Yeah.
And everything since then has been a very careful...
IntelBroker's arrest, sorry.
IntelBroker's arrest. So ShinyHunters has been recently arrested. Yeah, and now it's all come together. So you've had this massive police operation in France. It's taken down the admins, and there are like 3 other figures who've been arrested as well, but they're not names I know. It's IntelBroker and ShinyHunters.
Yeah, they're the big 2.
And look, let's go through some of their victims.
Yeah.
So Ticketmaster, Live Nation, that big one. That was that Shiny or Intel?
I don't actually remember. Look, IntelBroker's listed a bunch. Even when he said he'd retired, he launched...
Oh, yeah. Very, very active.
He'd been really, really active taking on HP, the Hewlett-Packard Enterprise.
Yep.
Who else? It's a very, 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 very long list.
It's a who's who. So between them, AT&T, Pizza Hut, Hewlett-Packard
Jaguar Land
Enterprises,
Rover.
Jaguar Land Rover.
Sydney Tools.
Absolutely. So some of these are quite local as well.
Yeah.
Apparently, like...
Cisco.
Yeah, Cisco.
Harley Davidson. Ford. Tesla. Oh, no, that was falsely claimed, the Tesla one. Never mind.
Well, yeah, okay. But the hits keep on coming.
Yeah, I could keep going.
So as all of this has happened at the same time, the US DOJ and the FBI have gone, yep, okay, we can now say who IntelBroker is.
And what was his name?
Kai West.
Kai West.
He's 25 years old.
Yeah.
Millions of dollars of hacks. 25 million he's probably made through all of this criminal activity. 40 different companies. This one individual, although there could have been other individuals operating behind the name, much like ShinyHunters was thought to be both an individual and a collective.
Yeah.
Because why make things clear? But nonetheless, this is a huge blow against some of the titans of data breaches and data leaks and non-ransomware based hacking.
Yeah.
These guys did operate. They didn't operate ransomware. They got rid of data, and then they would say, "Hey, give us money, or we'll publish it." So kind of like ransomware operators.
They're holding companies to ransom, but then it's not
ransomware technically, and mostly like they're getting hold of troves of data and selling it on BreachForums.
They'll sell it. IntelBroker, from memory, would often just post stuff. So I'm guessing he often was just holding it to ransom.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time, you'd have a scan of BreachForums or a threat researcher would discover it, and there's IntelBroker going, I've got the data of Nokia. Here you go.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's all there. Or he'd post a sample and say, you can have the rest if you pay for it.
But the funny thing about IntelBroker is, so this Western Uni student gotten 20 charges. All they've stuck with IntelBroker, what have they got? Conspiracy to commit computer intrusions, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, accessing a protected computer to obtain information, and wire fraud. And that's just one count of each. I think they've gone after him with a very, very specific, watertight case on one consequential
So they can guarantee an arrest.
Guarantee it. They're not going after anything else. It's kind of like, taking down Al Capone, right?
Yeah.
You go after the one thing you know you can nail him on. However, so he's currently in custody in France. The US is seeking his extradition. And if he gets found guilty on all of those counts, the maximum penalty is 50 years in jail.
Which he will probably get.
However, he probably knows where a lot of other data is. He probably has information on a lot of other members of the forum. This story isn't done yet. Yeah.
As we know, there's no honor among thieves.
No honor
Not
among
even
thieves.
to their fellow
Absolutely
hackers.
not. If I were a Breach Forum member... Wait, I am a Breach Forum member, but not a criminal one.
No.
I was only there for legitimate journalistic purposes.
Yes,
but if
yes,
I were
yes.
a malicious user of the forum, I would be really, really worried right now.
Yeah, me
with
too.
all those admins getting taken. And I dare say their devices, their infrastructure... Breach Forums is almost certainly not coming back now.
Certainly all these guys had to think it's only a matter of time, because Breach Forums has been taken down 4 times now.
Yeah.
It's been through how many?
Multiple arrests. Pomperin, one of the previous admins, he was arrested.
All of the owners have been arrested now.
And we've got to wonder if those previous arrests, in part, led to the current arrest.
Probably.
Although with Kai West, the guy's been fingered as, allegedly fingered as IntelBroker. One of the reasons he got caught is his OPSEC got really, really sloppy. He was selling data to an undercover law enforcement officer. He gave details of his Bitcoin wallet to an undercover law enforcement officer,
and that wallet history.
And that wallet had been opened and linked to his personal bank account.
Yeah.
So it all became remarkably easy in the end. It's weird. So there have been a number of people who I think in previous Breach Forum admins as well who've gone, you know what, I'm out. This is getting too close. I'm done. And I think you need to know when you're in this ecosystem that it is just a matter of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. We saw massive law enforcement operations from Europol last week that took down a whole mess of info stealers or the week before.
Yeah.
The weird thing is, as much as we might celebrate this, and we certainly do, these are criminals who deserve to pay for what they've done, the ecosystem out there is large.
Yeah.
You know, sure, it might make a few people think twice, but most cyber criminals are confident in their skills, probably a little bit arrogant, and they will always think they can get away with it. And there's always that next big payday down the track.
And a lot of them
makes it look worth it.
They're going to be willing to risk the fact that they might get arrested one day. They're going to be willing to go, because I don't know where these circumstances come from. They might need money for family reasons. They might have a desperate need for money that makes them go, I am willing to go to prison eventually for this.
Or they could just be greedy.
Or they could just be greedy, which is more likely.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
think
going
that's
to
a lot more
sympathise
likely.
with any of these guys.
Yeah.
But no, it'll be weird not seeing, I mean, we haven't for a while, but seeing IntelBroker
They're like
pop up.
old friends, old enemies. But yeah, we've been writing about these characters for years now.
Yeah.
They're absolute rock stars of the cyber criminal scene. And Vale,
Yeah.
you deserved it.
Yeah, they absolutely do.
Now, let's talk big numbers. Big numbers. Let's talk a data breach. Oh my God, 16 billion names and emails and passwords. What are we going to do, Daniel?
This one frustrated me a lot. So this one started out, you probably all read it. Cyber News.
It was everywhere.
Yeah.
And all the main mastheads went all over
Channel
this.
9 covered it, you know.
Not particularly well.
So it
might
started
we
off,
add.
Cyber News, their kind of research team, came across 30 databases which together contained a joint total of 16 billion credentials, they said. And, you know, these contain data belonging to Apple, Google, Facebook, GitHub, Telegram, some government services, other stuff, right? It sounds super, super scary. They then talk about it being a info stealer thing.
Yep.
And they say, like, you know, the databases are new, it's new. It wasn't new.
Yeah, it's been framed as a data breach, as all these companies getting actively breached, blah, blah. No.
None of these companies have been breached actively of late. That data has been, I think Bleeping Computer were the first to kind of go through and say, yeah, it's old data.
Yeah, bravo, those guys.
Cyber Researchers has also said that it's old
And
data.
they've contacted us saying that as well.
What this is a massive combo list, and I'm not going to take away from the risk of that, but what upset me was how many major and minor publications went through and said, this is the mother of all breaches.
Yeah.
We had Forbes, Tech Radar, Channel 9, Channel News, like a bunch of publications coming out and going, this is...
I don't think I've ever heard of Channel News.
You can look it up.
Yeah, okay, cool.
So Bleeping Computer pretty quickly pointed out the credentials were likely circulating for some time.
Yeah.
And that there's no evidence to suggest that any of it is new, despite the claims.
Yeah.
And from my understanding, it was that the databases themselves may have been new. But, you know, you buy a brand new water bottle, right? And you fill it up with tap water. Is the water all of a sudden new?
Yeah, it's You're going with this whole ship of Theseus kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what a combo list is.
Yes.
Combo lists are built upon pre-existing breaches. So, for instance, on BreachForums, when it was still running, you would commonly see Prime 200,000 clean combo list, Australians from this. And it's all taken from a breach here, a leak there, a breach here, and someone's collated it, and it's basically being sold to scammers. Is this a dangerous thing in the hands of the wrong person? Probably.
Absolutely.
Is it new? No.
What you'll often find combo lists used for are credential stuffing attacks. You've got a big, nice set of credentials.
Yep.
Run them through a login.
Is this a big one? Hell yeah. It's probably
huge.
It's not the mother of all breaches, but it might be the mother of all combo lists.
I don't even think it is, but I think it's up there.
It's up there,
But what's really disappointing is that the media was so quick to kind of follow suit.
And consider it a single thing in and of itself, as if this was breached in one thing. For me, like when you and I started researching it, because you wrote the article, but like a lot of these things, we both work on the research. I just went straight to have I been pwned to see, okay, well, is there a new big combo list? Still not there.
Yeah.
And that to me says there is nothing interesting about this combo list.
The other thing that Cyber News pointed
for its
out
size.
is that this combo list was, all these databases, were only briefly accessible. Like for a matter of moments so that they could see it.
Yeah.
And, there it is. And they could have a look at it and kind of get an idea of what it was. But then it wasn't accessible anymore. There's almost an irresponsibility for reporting on it because now it's public. I don't know. I didn't like a lot about this. So researchers from Tenable, confirmed that the data has circulated across the dark web before. They said, firstly, this is not a new data breach. It's a result of threat actors' use of infostealer malware that has silently scraped usernames and passwords during breaches. This data has been bundled, traded, and resurfaced across underground forums.
Yep.
But he did say, this is Bernard Montel, Technical Director and Security Strategist for Tenable, said that it's still dangerous.
Oh, absolutely. Like we are
on.
not saying otherwise, but in terms of new, biggest breach ever?
No, it's not.
No.
And there's enough fear in the reporting of this industry. People don't need to fearmonger an ambulance chase.
Yeah.
It's, a little bit disappointing. But now you know.
Now you know.
It was not a fresh breach.
Speaking of things that you should be a little bit afraid of, Citrix, maker of NetScaler gateway devices, which are basically the backbone of a lot of big enterprise companies' internet communications, they've had a very bad week. 3 vulnerabilities in the last 7 days, 2 of which critical. And it's being referred to. So 2023, there was a vulnerability that was referred to as Citrix Bleed, more accurately. And this is what a lot of ransomware operators like Lockbit were taking advantage of to exfiltrate data from these vulnerable devices and networks.
Yep.
Kevin Beaumont is calling this latest set of vulnerabilities that Citrix has disclosed Citrix Bleed 2. And so the first set, no exploitation so far. Cisco has released updates and patches for devices. Unfortunately, there are 2 devices which have reached end of life. The only way this is going to get remediated is replacing those devices and upgrading them entirely. So that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
No hacks yet until overnight. New vulnerability disclosed, which is being actively exploited on these devices. So effectively, we're probably going to see another wave of actual data breaches, probably ransomware attacks, all that kind of stuff based on that. So if you run a Citrix NetScaler device as part of your network, you need to have a look at this right away.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Australian Cybersecurity Centre released an advisory about this late last week. I believe I spotted it as I was coming home from work on Friday. So that's serious enough. But let's talk printers, because we love talking printers on this podcast.
It's not the only device you need to kind of screen.
So Rapid7, another cybersecurity firm, found just last year, they were just doing some random zero-day research, thought they'd look at a particular model of Brother printer, and they found a trove, like 8 separate vulnerabilities impacting hundreds of Brother brands and brands like Ricoh, Fujitsu, just millions of printers worldwide that are vulnerable to this. In some cases, it leads to a simple denial of service. You can turn the device off, or you can hammer the network. In others, you can trick the admin password for the device out of the device. And in a lot of networks, I guarantee you the admin password for the device is going to be the admin password for everything, a lot of things. So that one's big, but it's just the scale of it. These are devices, multifunction devices, that can print, thousands of pages per minute. Very unexciting devices. And I can say that as somebody who used to review these professionally. The most boring thing to review in ever is a printer. But the most terrifying thing in the office is probably your printer at the same time because no one thinks about it.
Yeah.
No one patches it. No one updates it. The firmware is just allowed to sit there and rot. And before you know it, that's the entry point. That's your attack vector for God knows what.
Yeah.
So, that one just blew me away. That millions of devices worldwide, probably more, that are either going to need to be replaced. And also, that's the thing, it's down to the manufacturing process.
Yeah.
It's not something that can be patched in some cases. Yeah. It's the process which has led to the flaw. So Brother have said, yep, okay, cool, thanks for spotting that. This has been worked on for a year, basically, between Rapid7, Brother, and one of the computer emergency response teams in Japan, all together, making sure they've dotted all the I's, crossed all the T's, until I think it was yesterday they went, okay, now we're disclosing it. Huge amount of work has gone into disclosure of those things. So again, if you run a Brother MFD in your organization, you might want to check that one out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And on that note, I'm going to clear my throat and we're going to go for a small break. And welcome back to the Cyber Uncut podcast. I'm David. He's Dan. Let's get Australia. Let's talk the social media age ban. We've stayed away from that for a bit. And I know over the last week, we probably have been a little bit more quiet on it than we should. It's been a busy week, to be honest, in terms of a lot of the bread and butter of what Daniel and I cover. But so there's been a report that's come out into how the age assurance trials are going and whether or not it can be done. Without going into that too deeply, it seems like there's a lot of magical thinking involved. It all works. What could go wrong?
Yeah.
Forget about the fact that kids are being scanned as being 35 or being able to get around stuff. Or it's fine. It's going to work. The big one. Oh, my throat.
It's okay. I burped earlier. So.
Yeah, okay, everything's fine. Okay, we're even. Julie Inman-Grant, the e-safety commissioner, has gotten in a stoush with YouTube over this.
Yeah. So when the social media age ban was kind of announced in I think it was November it was announced.
Yeah.
Albanese and the government announced that there would be a number of exemptions. So messaging apps, which we spoke about, that is really strange if you're trying to combat bullying. So messaging apps, gaming services, educational services. Yeah. One of those educational services was YouTube.
Yep.
And, there's good reason for this. It's used in classrooms. A lot of people find a lot of educational content on YouTube, including us.
Yeah.
So Julie Inman-Grant, the e-safety commissioner, has now said that YouTube, that there should be no exemptions, and that YouTube in particular is the example, right? So she said that YouTube is among the most harmful platforms used by children because 37% of children aged 10 to 15 find harmful content on YouTube. It's a higher percentage than any other social media.
Yeah.
It's a good stat. She also said that social media giants use persuasive design features to keep users online. And we know this. Algorithms are designed to maximize screen time.
You'll finish a video, another video it'll pop up, and you go, oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
Click.
And you go down a rabbit hole. YouTube
3 hours later,
is famous for that, right?
3 hours later, you've watched pretty much all the sorted videos, and you want to make food for the rest of the day. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not describing anything I do every night. Yeah.
So she said, this is not a fair fight where our kids are concerned vis-a-vis social media sites.
Yeah.
YouTube has mastered those opaque rhythms driving users down rabbit holes they're powerless to fight against. However, she did say that YouTube could be used if you don't log in.
Yep.
Which I will touch on this a little in a sec.
Yep.
And for educational purposes in schools.
Yeah.
Now, her biggest focus seems to be here on these algorithms.
On the algorithm. Yeah.
Now, she also talks about harmful content being found online on YouTube. Now, when I was young and was on YouTube, right, an algorithm was probably going to be really beneficial because what I would watch are Minecraft videos and stuff like that. Guess what popped up? More Minecraft videos.
Yeah.
If you're finding harmful content via an algorithm, you're probably looking at something that is leading to that harmful content.
Yeah.
And if you're a kid looking for said harmful content, you're more likely, I think, to get it if your algorithm isn't shaped to you. And if you're going to search for it, you're going to find it anyway.
Yeah.
So I think it's a bit of a, for lack of a better term, half-assed thing to say you can still use YouTube. But I think that's just because out of a policing thing.
Yeah.
So YouTube has fought back on this. They said that she's ignored the fact that government research found that 69% of parents believe YouTube was suitable for under 15s. And Rachel Lord, YouTube Australia and New Zealand Public Policy and Government Relations Senior Manager, quite a title, said in 2024, a survey found that a staggering 84% of teachers in Australia use YouTube on at least a monthly basis in the classroom. And it's true. And as she has, to her credit, acknowledged, Inma Grant has acknowledged that this is a really, really good educational platform.
And has also said today that, whoa, we don't want to stop that.
We're
not going to stop teachers from showing kids YouTube videos in the classroom because the teachers are controlling that, right?
Yeah.
They are gatekeeping it effectively. Curating it.
I've kind of gone in circles with this, but my main point on this is that it seems to be a really, really thin point to hold on to, that YouTube, when logged in, needs to be banned more than anything. I don't know. If someone is looking for harmful content, they're going to find it.
They are, but for me, and I think this might be one of the rare areas where we disagree, if you're going to ban X, Y, and Z, then I think YouTube comes under that umbrella.
I agree.
Yeah.
And her argument that there should be no exemptions is almost the strongest one she makes in the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because messaging apps, for example, I believe Snapchat's considered a messaging app in that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that ever became non-exempt. If it hasn't, that'd be the first thing I'd ban.
Yeah.
And one of the issues we both had with the social media ban is that they talk about, we're going to stop bullying by banning Facebook and Instagram. Yes, public bullying is a thing, but being in a private group chat with a bunch of people, I feel, is probably where most bullying happens. I don't know if it's changed since I was in high school.
But also
that's how it went.
Think of the ubiquity of Discord these days. And there are Discord communities which are massively huge, and they may as well be social media operations in their own right.
Yep.
My group of friends, we have our own private Discord, and over time, I've come to find that a little bit too social media-like, and I've had to pull back from it.
Yep.
Because it's just like, wow, that's just a lot of too much digital stuff happening.
Yeah.
And the fact is, you can get bullied in those circumstances.
You absolutely can.
If Discord isn't a part of it, if YouTube isn't a part of it, that just means there are these places where the kids will end up going, and both the good kids and the ones doing the bullying will end up going, and guess where the bullying happens?
Yeah.
Guess where other dodgy content's now going to get shared in those areas?
Yeah.
Look, the social media age ban is one of those weird things where I've had moments where, okay, I can kind of see the point it makes, and I'm kind of against it. At the moment, I just don't trust the government to be able to implement it properly. As I've heard it described, the Australian government seems to want to find every rake it can step on that it can find.
Yeah.
And this is certainly one of those.
The thing is, I think it's got good intentions. We've always said that. It has the right idea. But the reason that, Australia's boasting that it's a world first is because it's a thing that no one else wants to try.
Yeah.
It's too hard.
But the thing is, other countries are trying it. I think PNG wants to follow suit.
Yeah.
I know New Zealand's looking at it.
But not until we started it.
Everybody wants to see if we can pull it off.
Yeah.
I mean, we have the chance. We could pull it off. It could be great. Other countries follow suit. It could be it could be terrible. And other countries will go, we're going to do it, but not like these idiots.
Yeah. And look, that's not me trying to, attack Australia for trying to pioneer something that has very good intentions.
Yep.
I agree that the digital landscape and being online can be incredibly harmful.
Yeah.
Right? Especially when you're a young kid without a proper understanding of how things work, and social structures of school are just such a big, big emotional thing.
Yes.
It can be really, really, really hard.
Yeah.
I understand that. But I think a lot of where this is going seems to be very box ticky and not very effective. I also think, because the onus of upholding the social media ban is on social media companies.
Yeah.
I don't know how much effort they're going to put into it. And
why would they for a small country like Australia when we're like a infinitesimal little bit of their user base?
Yeah. Look, and the thing is, they will either ignore it Or if it really comes to it, like they did with that Facebook debacle overpaying for media, they'll leave.
They'll just go, well, we won't do it then.
Yeah. And the government will be forced to back down. We've seen the government back down with that. We saw them back down. The E-Safety Commissioner back down with the Musk thing on X.
Yeah, on X.
And so, unfortunately, as much as I'd like to be able to say that our government can stand up to these tech giants, we've proven time and time again that it doesn't work. Yeah. So I think, it's got a lot of weak points. I would love it to work realistically. I really would, but I just don't think it will.
Not in its current form and not by the people who are currently trying to run it either.
And to come back to it, I think the YouTube when logged in only is a really not the strongest stance to take. I don't know if that's...
It's a weird line to draw in the sand, isn't it?
Yeah, I get what she's getting at. One of the points she made about these algorithms, last thing I'll say on this, was that if you're a child and you're looking for weight loss tips, are you then going to be shown videos of anorexia and bulimia? And I get that there's slippery slopes there.
Yep.
But I honestly just feel that an algorithm can almost be a protective barrier.
That's a really interesting take on that one.
My take would actually be make it legal that you have to have an account.
Make the algorithm itself more accountable rather than just going up for an outright ban.
Children should be allowed to have YouTube accounts, but they can only be underage accounts that literally put a wall up against that kind of content. It gets flagged for 18 and over. That seems to make more sense to me.
It does.
Anyway,
so let's get on to one of our favorite topics we don't get to talk about enough. But first I'm going to say... reset the clock.
Yep.
It's happened again.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yep. War Thunder. Everybody's favorite source of classified material is once again in the news because once again a gamer has decided to win an argument by posting restricted content on the forums just to prove they're right and somebody else is wrong. I love these guys. It's great. So this time... some forum user has posted details of 2 Harrier ground attack aircraft variants. I don't know what they were trying to prove. We never will because they've been banned and the content's been removed.
Yeah.
But what they did is they posted a section of a flight ops manual for these Harriers to the forum to prove a point. And some poor forum moderator's gone...
Yeah, how am I a forum moderator and this is not the first time I've had to de-escalate a cyber crime that threatens national security?
Right?
Yeah.
So the post has been deleted. The user's given a temporary ban. This poor moderator's hauled out the usual boilerplate, which is probably tattooed on their foreheads at this point, about please do not do this. Now, what's fascinating is people go, it's classified material. The thing is, it's not technically classified. It's restricted.
Yeah.
But it's not meant for public consumption. It's basically what you're meant to have a read of and have a look if you're using these flight systems. And in a lot of cases, these manuals circulate on mil bloggers and military forums, and they're out there, right? But War Thunder's a video game. It can't afford to be seen as being a part of breaking this kind of stuff open to the public.
No.
And it happens literally at least every 6 or 12 months that this happens. We joke about it. Someone in the office will yell out, "Stop the clock!" And I'll go, "Really? War Thunder again?"
Yeah.
And they'll send it to me and I get to write the story and So, gamers, don't change.
Also, is it just going to get to the point where War Thunder just gets shut down because it is
too much of a
national security risk? Because its users just...
I swear, every second member of that forum must be members of foreign espionage agencies just waiting for the next drop.
Yeah, they're like finding this somehow and just saving it on Instagram, or like they've got some sort of social media feed that just goes through this restricted content. And they're like, I'll save that for my next argument.
Oh, that's useful.
Yeah. Really?
I know. And the thing is, like, everybody should know now what happens. This guy should have known he was going to get banned. He should have known it was going to get taken down. But I love the idea that, so here I am, I wanted to prove a point that plane XYZ is better than plane ABC. Is it worth getting banned? Yes. It's worth it. I'm right.
Unless there's so many instances where this happens and no one gets banned or it doesn't get flagged, that people are like, it won't happen to me.
Oh, shit, they caught me this time.
Yeah, it won't happen to me. It's
Who knows
fine.
how many other unknown, unclassified, or restricted classified data is existing somewhere in the corner of the War Thunder forums.
Yeah.
wild. Absolutely wild.
Wild indeed.
For some reason, it makes me feel good about humanity that, they'll always find a way to post restricted material to the War Thunder forums.
Yeah.
Bless you, gamers. Never change.
Yeah.
All right. This has been a bit of a long one. Thank you
right.
for listening. We've really enjoyed chatting to you. We hope you enjoyed listening. We'll be back next week. I'm David. He's Dan. We are from Cyber Daily. Subscribe to our newsletter. Find us on social media. Track us down on LinkedIn. Don't track us down. That sounds really aggressive. Find us on LinkedIn.
Yep.
Drop us a line and say hi. We actually always like talking to listeners and readers. So find our emails on the website. Find our social medias, and let's keep the conversation going. Otherwise, thanks for listening. We'll be back next week. Bye, all.
See you later.